Have you ever noticed that certain people get frustrated with you when you stay calm? It's not a coincidence. Manipulators use an instruction manual, and you just threw that manual in the trash. Today, we're going to look at the 5 signs that you're a glitch, an error in the system of toxic people, and why that's your greatest superpower in 2026. Before we dive in, let me explain something crucial about how manipulation actually works. Manipulators need one thing from you to succeed: an emotional reaction. They're looking for fear, guilt, or flattery. Think of it like this. Manipulation is an engine and your emotional response is the fuel. If you don't give them that fuel, the engine stops running. It doesn't matter how skilled they are at pushing buttons if your buttons simply don't respond the way they expect. Most people don't realize they're being manipulated because the tactics are subtle. A guilt trip here, a veiled threat there, maybe some fake admiration to get what they want. But here's where it gets interesting. Some people are naturally immune to these tactics. Not because they're cold or uncaring, but because their brain is wired differently. They process manipulation attempts through a filter that neutralizes the poison before it reaches their emotional core. If you've ever had someone tell you that you're too calm, too logical, or that you don't care enough, congratulations, you might be one of these people. Let's explore the 5 telltale signs. Sign number 1. The natural grey rock. You've probably heard of the grey rock method, where you intentionally become boring and unresponsive to a manipulator. But here's the twist. You're not even trying. Their dramas, their manufactured crises, their emotional roller coasters genuinely seem boring or illogical to you. It's not an act. It's just who you are. Picture this. Someone tries to make you jealous by talking about how amazing their new friend is, how much fun they're having without you, how this person is so much better at something than you are. A typical response would be insecurity, jealousy, maybe trying to compete for their attention. But you respond with a completely sincere, "Oh, that's nice. I'm glad you found someone you connect with." And you mean it. This absolutely breaks their script. They were expecting hurt feelings, defensiveness, maybe an attempt to win them back. Instead, they got genuine indifference. The manipulation attempt just bounced off you like a rubber ball off a brick wall. They might even get angry at your lack of reaction, which only proves they were trying to get a rise out of you in the first place. The beauty of being a natural grey rock is that you're not exhausting yourself by pretending. You're not suppressing emotions or white-knuckling through their provocations. You genuinely just don't find their drama compelling enough to invest emotional energy in. It's like they're trying to sell you a product you have zero interest in buying. Sign number 2. Your built-in incoherence detector. This is your superpower against gaslighting. When someone accuses you of something or tries to make you feel guilty, instead of immediately feeling bad or questioning yourself, your brain automatically goes into analysis mode. You start comparing their words to their actions, checking for logical consistency, reviewing the facts. Let's say someone tells you, "You never listen to me. You're always so selfish." A person vulnerable to manipulation would immediately feel guilty and start apologizing. But your brain does something different. It runs a quick diagnostic. Wait, didn't I listen to them for 2 hours last week about their problem? Didn't I cancel my plans to help them move? How exactly am I being selfish? This is your critical thinking filter in action. You've developed, either naturally or through experience, the ability to separate someone's emotional accusations from objective reality. When their words don't match their actions, you notice. When their story changes from one telling to the next, you catch it. When they're trying to rewrite history, you remember what actually happened. Here's the key phrase that probably runs through your mind. Your actions don't coincide with your words. If you automatically notice this discrepancy, you're essentially immune to gaslighting. Gaslighting only works when you trust the manipulator's version of reality more than your own perception. But you don't. You trust the evidence, you trust the pattern of behavior, and that makes you very, very difficult to manipulate. Manipulators hate this about you because they can't make you doubt your own sanity. They can't convince you that up is down or that something you clearly remember never happened. Your incoherence detector won't let them. Sign number 3. You're comfortable with uncomfortable silence. Most people rush to fill silence because silence feels awkward, especially in tense situations. Manipulators know this and use it as a weapon. They'll make an outrageous statement or accusation and then wait, knowing that most people will scramble to explain themselves, apologize, or break the tension. But not you. You're comfortable just sitting in that silence. If someone says something unreasonable to you and then stops talking, expecting you to jump in with justifications or apologies, you simply look at them and wait. You wait for them to elaborate. You wait for them to realize how ridiculous they sound. You wait because you understand that whoever speaks first often loses the power dynamic in that moment. This drives manipulators absolutely crazy. They've created this pregnant pause specifically designed to make you uncomfortable enough to give them what they want. But you're not uncomfortable. You're patient. You're observant. You're watching them squirm in the silence they created. Silence is one of the most underrated tools of power in human interaction. When someone makes an unreasonable demand and you respond with calm silence, you're essentially handing the awkwardness back to them. It's their move. They have to either double down on their unreasonableness, which makes them look worse, or back down and rethink their approach. Think about it. If someone says, "I can't believe you did this to me," and you just calmly look at them without immediately defending yourself, they're forced to actually explain what this is and why it's such a problem. Often, they can't. The accusation was meant to provoke, not to start a rational conversation. Your silence calls their bluff. Sign number 4. You're not afraid of being disliked. This is perhaps the most powerful immunity you can have. Manipulators weaponize social approval. They threaten to tell others about you. They give you the silent treatment. They exclude you from groups. They paint you as the villain in their story. All of this only works if you desperately need to be liked, to be seen as the good person, to have everyone's approval. But you don't need that. Sure, you appreciate when people like you. You prefer positive relationships. But you're not willing to betray yourself or accept mistreatment just to be someone's favorite. You're comfortable being the bad guy in someone else's narrative if standing up for yourself means you have to be. This is what we call internal validation. Your sense of worth comes from within, from your own values and standards, not from external approval. When a manipulator tries to threaten you with social consequences, you do a quick calculation. Is maintaining my boundaries and self-respect worth potentially being disliked by this person or their circle? And the answer is almost always yes. In 2026, we're seeing this concept of radical authenticity become more and more valuable. People are tired of performing, tired of contorting themselves to fit into others' expectations, tired of walking on eggshells to avoid conflict. The immunity to manipulation that comes from not fearing disapproval is becoming a cultural shift, not just an individual trait. When someone tries to control you by threatening to withdraw their approval or affection, and you genuinely respond with, "Okay, if that's what you need to do," they lose all their leverage. They were counting on you begging them to stay, to like you, to give you another chance. Instead, you've just demonstrated that their approval isn't the currency they thought it was. Sign number 5, you ask why instead of saying, "I'm sorry." This might be the clearest indicator that you're immune to manipulation. When faced with an accusation or demand, your first instinct isn't to apologize or comply. It's to seek understanding. You ask questions. You want logic. You need the reasoning to make sense before you accept responsibility or change your behavior. Someone says, "You hurt my feelings." The manipulable person says, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. What did I do?" and immediately goes into damage control mode. You say, "I didn't intend to hurt your feelings. Can you help me understand what I did that felt hurtful?" See the difference? You're not denying their feelings, but you're also not accepting blame without understanding the situation. You're asking them to do the work of explaining their perspective logically. And here's the thing. If their accusation is manipulative rather than genuine, they often can't explain it logically. They'll get frustrated that you're asking questions instead of just apologizing. They'll accuse you of being defensive or not caring, but you're neither. You're just requiring that accusations make sense before you accept them. This approach forces manipulators to justify the unjustifiable. If they're making up problems to control you, your questions expose the lack of substance behind their complaints. If they're exaggerating small issues, your calm inquiry brings the situation back to proper proportion. If they're projecting their own behavior onto you, your request for specific examples reveals the projection. The person who asks why maintains their power. The person who immediately apologizes gives their power away. You've figured this out, probably through trial and error, and now it's second nature. When someone tries to make you feel guilty, your brain automatically switches to investigation mode rather than guilt mode. So there you have it. 5 signs that you've been breaking the manipulator's script without even realizing it. The natural grey rock who finds drama genuinely boring. The incoherence detector who can't be gaslit. The comfortable silence keeper who doesn't need to fill every pause. The internally validated person who isn't afraid of disapproval. And the logical questioner who seeks understanding before accepting blame. Being difficult to manipulate doesn't mean being aggressive, cold, or uncaring. It means being the owner of your own mind. It means your emotional responses are authentic and proportional, not engineered by someone else's agenda. It means you operate from a place of internal clarity rather than external pressure. If you recognized yourself in these signs, I want you to do something for me. Comment below. I'm a glitch. Let's build a community of people who refuse to run the programs that toxic people try to install in us. And if you want to develop this immunity from scratch, if you're still figuring out how to strengthen these skills, stick around because we're going to dive even deeper into these concepts in future videos. Remember, the best defense against manipulation isn't building higher walls or becoming more suspicious of everyone. It's developing such a strong sense of self, such clear internal values, and such reliable critical thinking that manipulation attempts simply don't find fertile ground in your mind. You're not trying to be difficult, you're just being authentically, unapologetically yourself. And to a manipulator, that makes you the most dangerous person in the room. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on psychological immunity and authentic living. Until next time. stay glitchy.